Well, you can probably hear why we're down here. I'm not sure what the furnace has done, but all of a sudden it has just started shaking like crazy. This is G-force tools. Okay, it's just a little, scientific. It does angles, sound measurement, and this is vibration. And you can just see on the x-axis, it is just shaking the crap out of things, and then the Y is also. We can feel this in the floors upstairs. So I've got to figure out what's going on. Now that the unit's shut off, we can talk about it a bit. It's a Goodman. Just your average replacement home furnace system. This house never had a furnace. It had a wood stove which was pulled out for a propane freestanding ceramic, which did a phenomenally poor job of heating the whole place. I then got a used furnace, put it in, and then when it died finally, we put this one in a few years ago. 95% efficiency, replacing the 80% that we had in before. Up in here is the burner chamber, okay, and the air is pulled in through the furnace filter and blown through the fan, through the heat exchanger, and on up into the rest of the system. This is cold air, and this is the hot. I'm afraid some of this big air pendulum is simply because we're trying to mix the whole house down here. It's not ideal, but I mean, you're talking a house that was built 50 years before forced air furnaces, so we may do. So what I need to do is I need to get into this compartment down here. It's two things, okay? First, you've either got dirty fan, which can only happen if you are running without a furnace filter. I mean, I suppose there are units that filter afterwards, but no, most of them don't. There are some old units that don't filter at all, or it's possible that their filtering housing is broken or you're missing your filter, but running without a filter will give you a dirty fan. Although usually, I hate to say it, usually the fans, as they cake with crap, self-balance, but whatever. You could get a chunk that fell off. I think that this fan has spit a weight. Something else has clearly gone wrong. This whole thing just shakes the house. Something else has gone wrong. It'll eat itself. It'll take a great big old crap on us if I let it continue that way. So I'm going to go ahead and pull that loose and get in there and see if I can mess with the fan itself. Find out what exactly is going wrong. Alright, here's the inside of this one. I know you guys can't see it, but I can tell you right now, it's pretty darn clean in here, considering it has been in operation now over 4 or 5 years, and I've never opened this compartment before. There is no cake of dirt in the cool air chamber, and the fan blades, from what I can see, are perfectly clean. The fan also is really free spinning. I gave it a nudge and I can see it in there, it's still turning, which might work to my benefit. I know what we can do really quick. I'm going to pop the bottom of the shroud and see if I can see anything jumping or hear anything jangling. I don't. That's where I would expect. If it spit a fan weight, I'd expect it to be down there bouncing around, and I don't hear it. So I've kicked the house heat down to 60, and I put the fan on. So when I flip the unit back on, the fan should start and run again. Okay. Something didn't work right. Oh, that's right. The door is open. So here is the door override switch. Now it thinks it has a cover on. Boy, she sure is shaking. I'm going to let it spin down, and I think we're going to have to take it out. So, to pull it loose, you don't have to take all these wires off, and most of them, at least on this furnace, are right there in that big clump. but you're going to need to pull this white one. You're going to take that heat sensor right there out, and there should be a black. There should be a black, and then thermostat wires. So there's enough slack in that line. I think I can get this out and set it on the ground here in front of me without having to take those loose. If you had to take those loose, however, you just match the colors and you put them back together. So this all should be good. Black with black, white with white. The rainbow goes in the rainbow pixie socket there, and then this one right here. I mean, it only matches that one thing. Okay, and that should have it. This fan should now be a single unit. It is held in with a screw there, and the back of the fan is in a sliding channel to actually make this very process we're about to do here easier. Look at that. See how she rolls back on her own? I should have a Sharpie down here to help me find the center. That means she's heavy. Right down here somewhere. There's a fan weight. You can see what they look like. Just a clip. If the fan were painted, it'd be a little easier for me to figure out if it spit a weight, somehow threw it up into the furnace compartment. I don't see anything, unfortunately. But if this is filthy dirty, this is the time that you get in there with a brush and your vacuum cleaner. And I mean, I got a little dirt on here, but I mean, this thing's been running for 4 years. At least 4 years with this fan never being out, so it's pretty darn clean. Boy, it really wants. There's a fan weight right there. So this blade right here has a pair of fan weights on it. So the fact that it wants to return to that one spot tells you that the heavy is down. And it's putting these two fan weights up at the top. So my guess is that we could find some way to add a little extra right there, and that would accomplish our needs. I'm going to lift you up, and I'm going to slide your feet and legs in there, and I will have you, oops. Can your feet touch the ground? Okay, there are lots of sharp things in here. Now, can you crouch down and get onto your knees, watching for the sharp things? Okay, watch your forehead, because there's really sharp things in front of you. Now, do you see all the dog hair and ickiness? Can you use your hands, grab that, and put it in here? I'm going to turn the vacuum cleaner on. Stick it in there. Okay, so it actually turned out to be a little dirtier than I thought, especially inside the unfiltered cold air return, which had essentially a sea of dog hairs. It's one of the downsides of having dog, is you get dog hair everywhere. And then I went ahead and brushed off the grates for the cold air return, or the heat exchanger. You got to be really careful. I actually bumped it once when I slipped. But you got to be really careful because they're aluminum and fragile, but I cleaned those off as well. So now the compartment is as clean as I can get it. However, it still didn't change anything with regards to this. This thing still rotates down on its own accord. It's like I had a third weight that's come off. I didn't find a third weight down inside there. I did, however, find
this screw, which seems like it's important. So I better do a careful check as to where that might have come from. It's clearly came out of here, but this thing's been shaking so hard. I mean, God only knows. See it rolling back. It's got its spot. Now in theory, if I can find its spot, which really does appear to be these, it's like it just need to be heavy. So I'm gonna go see what I've got. So what do I have that I can clip on there? That'll stay on there, and I don't have to worry about it. I found these, and they slide over, and then they clip in place right there on that line. And I've got two, and at this point, two of them, this fan doesn't seem to move no matter where it stops. Okay, there it seemed to rotate down to the bottom. See, two just seems like it's way too much to me. Let's try one. I don't like, it wobbles in and out, but it doesn't feel loose on the motor shaft at all, nor is there any play in the motor itself. I think we're going to try that without any way to properly balance it. About all I've got is trial and error. So I added this clip, which is about the same weight as the two weights that are currently on it. Maybe a little more. I have a smaller one, if it wants a smaller one. But it looks to me like it's almost trying to roll back. See, if I give it a nudge and help it, it wants to roll up. Whereas if I push it backwards, it doesn't. The fact that I can nudge it one direction and it wants to stop, and I nudge it the other direction and it wants to keep going, that leads me to believe the heavy part's still down at the bottom. Well, we'll give it a try. We know how much it was shaken before. We'll find out if we've made it better. Okay, we should be ready for our test. Once again, I should just be able to trick the furnace. It'll come on. With luck, we're gonna rock and roll without a whole lot of vibration. Here we go. Tricking it to think the door is on. Now we still have a little vibration down there, but it's a pronounced difference with a completely different pattern of vibrations. The X and Y is quite a bit better. The overall total is quite a bit less. Okay, so that's the pattern of our previous vibration, and you can see how big the peaks were, especially in the X-axis. X, Y. This is our pattern here. So a marked difference. But I'm wondering if I add that second clip in there, could I get it even less? I'm also wondering a way to add that second clip without taking the whole thing back out again. I bet you I can do it. I bet you. Let me give it a try. Okay, here we go again. I got that second one in there. This is 2. Let's see what vibrations we get here. That's where I bumped the phone. Look at that! That is a success. I'm pretty happy. This is what really bothered me, was how much my gas line was rattling around. It still vibrates a little. Oh, that is so much nicer than it was. Let's see if we can look at that now. Okay, this was the oscillation we got at the very beginning. This is the furnace before I started working on it. So we cleaned it, and I added a weight where it appeared that the furnace wanted a weight. This was the second set of vibration lines, showing you the scope there. And I felt like we could get some more out of it, so I added another weight. And these are the lines I got on a double weight. Much better. Okay, that spike was me bumping the phone. Much better across the board. X, Y, and Z, but Z is tremendously improved. So I think that we still have a side-to-side oscillation. I suspect that's that wobbling fan, but I believe this is a profound effect, and quite frankly, it's good enough for a furnace. I do love it when a plan comes together. Now I just need to put the whole thing back together. And we are once more in the business of not being cold. Oh, our mystery screw. It took a bit of time to find it, but it turns out it was the mate to this one over there. And it must have been loose for a while, and the vibrations were such that the hole had been egged out. So I simply found a screw, slightly larger in diameter, and this time I put a lock washer or a star washer underneath of it. Hopefully, the combination is not shaking so hard, and that washer means that everything will be just